This week's best MMA bets. We're talking UFC 275. Glover Teixeira, Yuri Prochazka in that main event. It's a pretty solid card. We're going to go through the locks, dogs, props, and the parlays. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. Let's start it off with the lock section. The first lock I'm going to throw at you guys isn't going to be a value lock whatsoever, but it has to be Valentina Shevchenko winning. I cannot see her losing the fight. Now, of course, the line is really not playable for the majority. Unless you're throwing Drake money at her, you're really not making much back. You're looking at best value minus 531 for Valentina Shevchenko, Talia Santos plus 475. I have a feeling this fight goes at least 2 rounds, but I don't really like the overs too much. Over a round and a half, minus 350. This is one of those fights that might be near that unplayable side. Of course, there's a chance Shevchenko gets the finish, but if Talia Santos went all 5 rounds, I mean, she's a tough up-and-coming contender, maybe the true number 2 girl in the weight class. Props here, Shevchenko by decision is plus 105. Shevchenko by KO TKO plus 255. If Santos maybe gets a little bit wild on the feet, looking to land shots, maybe some frustration sets in, there could definitely be a counter from Shevchenko for the knockout. Ugly one betting-wise, probably like a last leg parlay type piece here to just add a little juice to it because the money's ugly here. It's not a great line, but Shevchenko should win. I think she's better everywhere, and she's the best female on the planet right now. Let's keep on running. The next lock, I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to beat up Razman Ameev here. Ameev has decent wrestling, but not great. I mean, he's a Dagestani fighter, so we're used to seeing the Khabibs, the Islam Makhachevs, guys that are going to take you down, control you, and you're not going to find a way up. Ameev is nowhere near that level of offensive wrestling nor control. Della Maddalena is the minus 149 favorite. Ameev plus 141 as the dog. I feel like Maddalena's hands are going to be on display here. I like the odds of Jack Della Maddalena getting a KO. The money for it, plus 315. It's good value. Plus 315 is a good value prop here for that. I think it might be a light sprinkle for me on that one. But as far as the actual money line bet, I think there's value right there. Jack Della Maddalena, straight money line attack. I think he's going to beat Razman Ameev. Ameev losing to Danny Roberts. Roberts is not all that high class. Had a hard time, consistently getting Roberts down, controlling him. It was not there at all. I'm not saying, in 2022 being a British fighter means you can't wrestle, but the country's not known for wrestlers. Ameev, Dagestani, doesn't have that Dagestani wrestling game. And you guys know I'm high on majority of fighters from Dagestan. Ameev is not one of them. Jack Della Maddalena, I'm going to call second round knockout. So I like the knockout prop at plus 315. I do think he could also win a decision. I think you have a great money line attack here at minus 149 range, minus 150, even upwards of minus 170. I don't think it's a bad play on Jack Della Maddalena. Lock number 2 and a very playable lock. The next lock is Manel Kape over Rogerio Bontorin. I do think Bontorin's a tough fight and the line is wider than it should be. I'd like to see the odds of this fight like minus 150 in favor of Manel Kape. Instead, Kape's a solid size favorite right now. Minus 220, Bontorin sitting around plus 195. I think Kape is definitely the quicker and more explosive fighter of the two. He's more versatile standing up for sure, but Bontorin is dangerous with his jiu-jitsu. He's heavy on the ground. If he's on top, he's heavy. His submission game is solid. He's got dangerous ground, right? But on the feet, you look at the matchup, Bontorin hits pretty hard, and he's got big overhands, nice hooks. Kape, to me, though, is more precise on the feet. So I think he's going to probably be in for a fight, but one where he can win. If you look at Kape, he was even touched up a bit before he finished Zhalgas Zhumagulov. I think Bontorin's going to have moments in the fight. I actually think we're looking at a pretty competitive matchup. I'm going to be picking Manel Kape. I have a decent feeling we're going all 3 here. The line for over 2.5, interesting, right? Plus 115. Maybe I'm going an over here. Over 1.5, I think is a fantastic bet at minus 160. It's hard for me to see either one of these guys stopping each other in the first round. I think we're going later. I feel like we're going all 3 in an ultra competitive matchup that the books have as more of like a moderately wide line. But this is a near pick'em's fight. but Kape should get the hand raise. I'm confident that he does get it done. Kape by decision plus 250. I like that over 1.5 at minus 160 the best. And over 2.5 is plus 115. That's not a bad play either. Manel Kape, potential money line attack at minus 220. I think he's going to beat Rogerio Bontorin in this matchup, and it's high stakes in the flyweight division for sure. Let's keep jumping. Next lock is Andre Fialho. Minus 137 range for him. Jake Matthews plus 128. Matthews is a pretty well-rounded guy. Decent game overall. What I see from him, though, is not a ton of head movement. He's a little bit stiff down the center, and I feel like Fialho's going to be able to find some power shots. Andre Fialho's stand-up game is where he shines. He's not bad on the floor either, though, but he's a dynamic puncher. Like dynamite puncher really is the word. He hits extremely hard. He's willing to take one to land one. He gets in firefights, and usually he's the one coming out on top. He's got a ton of experience as well outside of the UFC. Jake Matthews also pretty experienced. Both guys relatively young, under 30. Really turning into their primes now. I see Fialho getting the hand raise, and I actually predict he's going to knock Jake Matthews out. Fialho's not a bad money line attack. I think we're going under 2.5 rounds at minus 130. I think that's a decent bet there. And then Fialho to win by KO TKO plus 125. It's not great plus money, but I do think it's fairly likely. Under 2.5 minus 129. Fialho money line minus 137 range. Like there's good Fialho side bets or time prop if you want. The prop for knockout is just not really valuable enough to bank on it, but it's probably going to happen. I think like it's the most likely method of victory for Fialho is win by knockout. If you said Jake Matthews was winning this fight, I'd assume he wins a decision, but I see Fialho beating by KO. And if it did go longer, I could see Fialho getting the hand raise as well. I like Fialho a lot here. He's a lock. He's a confident pick. I think he's got the better stand-up between the two. I think the ground games can cancel each other out. Power definitely favors Fialho. Knockout for him over Jake Matthews. And let's see where Fialho can take this thing because he's on a nice little run against the back-end guys in the UFC. Let's see in this welterweight division as he steps up. So, someone a little more talented like a Jake Matthews, what happens? I think Fialho's getting the win. Let's jump to the dog section. If you guys haven't, make sure to smash the like button. And if you're new, subscribe. Let's talk dogs. Dog number 1, Na Liang over Silvana Gomez-Juarez. I can't go against that pick. Like, it just makes perfect sense to me. Gomez-Juarez, majority of her game is boxing, and she does have decent hands. Decent pop in that right hand for sure. Drop Vanessa Demopoulos. But on the floor, limited. She's been submitted by arm bars in both of her UFC outings. Na Liang is known for the arm bar outside of the UFC. She's a pressure grappler who's going to look to take the fight to the floor. And when she gets it there, I think she has an edge over Gomez-Juarez. And I feel like she finds the submission in the first couple rounds. Na Liang is plus 133 as the underdog. I like that underdog plus money. I also like that submission line. Looking at Liang by sub, you're looking at around plus 225. Not a bad touch. Most likely method of victory. I think Gomez-Juarez, her real method to win here is going to be keeping the fight on the feet for the full 3 or landing a knockout shot. It's not impossible because Gomez-Juarez is fairly precise and she has some pop in the hand. She's a tough girl, but I think Na Liang winning the fight with the grappling is very realistic. I'd say highly likely. I'm going Na Liang win by submission. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 170. Interesting touch, maybe there. I think Na Liang as the dog, getting the hand raised, win by submission is what I see. And I mean, if it did go Gomez-Juarez's way, I wouldn't be shocked if it was a counter-strike KO on the feet, especially with that right hand. But I see Liang landing the takedowns, getting it to the floor, pressuring Gomez-Juarez and tapping her. I'm going to say first round. I could see it in the second as well. But if Liang goes too hard early, maybe gasses, and then Juarez ends up getting a TKO. So that under 2.5 might save you any risk there. I like that too. But I like the dog plus money, Na Liang for the win. Let's jump to the next underdog. This one is a tough matchup for sure. It's Kyo Ho Kang over Dana Batigrel. Plus 125 for Kyo. Batigrel minus 130. I feel like Kyo Ho Kang is dangerous on the feet. Not like a big dynamite puncher like a Batigrel where he's going to touch you and put you to bed. But he's decent from range, solid boxing game, fairly crisp, moves well, length advantage here. Probably a bit of a wrestling edge in this matchup. Batigrel at times I think gets overzealous looking for the knockout, especially because he had 3 KOs in a row. Got himself into a little bit of trouble against Chris Gutierrez in the last one, jumping in on short notice. Bad knockout loss in the last fight. I feel like there's a good shot for Kyo Hung to pull this one out. I feel like he might mix in some wrestling. Definitely going to try to fight from distance. He needs to avoid that big power hand. So don't get overzealous. Don't fall into a brawl. Because if Batigral gets a brawl ensuing, I think he gets the hand raised by KO. But Kung, not a guy that gets KO'd. He's got a solid chin on him. Most of his wins are also by decision, though. Losses by decision, wins by decision. He's a guy that goes long often. And I feel like this fight's going long, too. I'm going to say very close decision for Kyoho Kyung. Then Batkari is always dangerous with the power. The hands are scary. And if he lands an overhand punch, he can put Kyo down. But I just don't think it's going to happen here. I think Kyo gets a W. Now, looking at the line, Kyo by decision plus 280. I'd rather just money line him plus 120. I think it's scary to play any time props here. This is an intense fight because one guy has that ability for the KO and then the other one more so towards decision. Because I have a hard time seeing Kyo Hong get the KO over Batkaral. I think it's like extremely low likelihood. I think decision. We're going to say Kyo Ho Kyung win decision plus 120 dog. I think he can get it done, but he's got to not get hit by that knockout shot. And if it lands, it could be over fast. The next the next dog, not lock, is going to be Machate over Steve Garcia. Garcia's an iffy fighter at this point on the feet. He's been put down a couple of times. He's looked okay overall, decent wrestling game, but was also controlled bad by Luis Pena. Machate's a dangerous striker, and he's crisp. If he can keep this fight standing, which I believe for the most part he will, he's so much technically superior to Steve Garcia. I think he can land great multi-shot combos. Machate's light on his feet. I love the way he gets in and out of range. I feel like he's going to beat Steve Garcia up a bit here. I think he could even get the KO. I like Machate straight plus 150 dog attack over Steve Garcia, who's around the minus 170 favorite. I think you're getting dangerous with your props and stuff like that. Like if you feel like, oh, I have to play props on this one, I would be like, listen, man, you don't need to play no props. I don't think it's super worth it because I feel like there's a chance Machate could get the KO win. This fight could end in many methods, but I still see it being Machate getting the hand raised at the end, whether it's decision or knockout. Only way I could see Steve Garcia winning really is if he was able to land consistent takedowns, grind against the cage. If you're looking at pure striking for striking, I think Machate's definitely better. So as long as he performs at level, he's superior to Steve Garcia and should get the hand raised in this one. I don't like the props here. I like the straight money line dog attack. Machate plus 150 I think is a good play to cash nicely on this week as one of the dogs. Let's keep running up. The next dog is going to be Josh Kulabeao over Sungwoo Choi. Scary one. Maybe my least favorite. Mainly because like Choi is still a problem. Don't get me wrong, but I think Kulabeao can make this a fight. Good low kicks, power in the hands. He's explosive. Sungwoo Choi is rangy though. He fights well from distance. He's dangerous too. He's got power in his straights. You look at the wrestling department. I think it's competitive. I think Kulabeao might actually have a little bit better offensive wrestling by just a little bit. Maybe some trips, maybe some body lock takedowns. But if he gets it to the floor, I don't really see him controlling Sungwoo Choi for long. I think this is going to be a majority stand-up fight. And I think Josh Kulabeao is a pretty damn good striker. Sungwoo Choi is a good fighter. But I'm not ready to say he's top of the line. And Kulabeao, outside of that loss to Jalen Turner, up a weight class, is a draw with Charles Jourdain. I mean, I know that's still a loss. Or I guess it's not a loss. It's still not a win, but it's not a loss. And Jourdain is fighting Shane Burgos. I mean, he's working his way towards the top, and he's looking nasty on the feet. One of the better strikers at 45. I think we're going long here. All 3 rounds. So over 2.5 at minus 125 to me is the best play. If you're looking for safety first, I think that's the best play because I think we're going the full 3. Kulabeao to win plus 198. He's a dog. He's a good-sized dog. I think this fight could be closer. The line could be a lot smaller, but still will favor Sungwoo Choi. I like the over 2.5. Or the over 2.5. Over 1.5 is okay at minus 225. I think both of those are good. I like the overs here a lot. Kulabeao, you can attack a money line, but there is a chance that Sungwoo Choi can get it done, certainly. I'm picking the Kulabeao side, though. I like that over 2.5. Minus 125. cash on that overtime prop, competitive striking match. That's what I like here. I think it's a good fight too, and I'm interested to see how this one plays out because I think it might be a bit of a technical kickboxing match for the majority. And let's get to the final dog of the night. Joanna Jędrzejczyk over Weili Zhang. Plus 146 for Joanna. It's definitely a concerning play for me, a little bit. Like, I got to be straight up. 3 rounds. I want 5. Especially like this. They fought for the belt. It was 5 rounds. It's the number 1 contender fight. I'd rather see 5-round number 1 contender fights. I think that's something the UFC should consider doing. Because let's say this fight's on UFC Fight Night. It's the main event. It's going to be 5 rounds. But because it's the feature bout of the night on a pay-per-view, we're only getting 3. And for their, trilogy, I think we're missing 2 important rounds because their first fight was 5. What if that one would have ended just after 3? Things change when it's only 3 rounds. I'd like to see 5. It is what it is. We only got 3. I think Joanna's going to come out a lot faster here. I think she knows she needs to. Watch for low kicks. Watch for good straight shot combinations. Watch for Weili, though, to try and wrestle. I do think there's a good chance she's going to look for takedowns here. Joanna's never been an easy girl to take down. Not an easy girl to hold down. I think Joanna's going to be on her feet moving well. I think Zhang will have moments. I'm thinking we might be looking at another split decision. These two are ultra competitive with one another. And I'm going to say Joanna gets the win. She's plus money as a dog. Over 2.5 rounds, minus 250. I do think we go over 2.5. Joanna to win via decision, plus 210. I really think it should be 5, though. I really wish we had 5 rounds here because we only got 3 rounds to work. Hopefully these ladies get after it from the opening bell and we get, another great type fight because that first one was the greatest female fight ever. Let's see if this one can live up to the hype. It should have been 5 rounds, so I think the UFC fucked up here by making this only 3 rounds. Is what it is. Joanna for the win on a decision. Let's jump to the prop section. We'll talk about some extra props. Specific one we'll be talking about could be Glover Teixeira and Yuri Prochazka. So I look at this fight and I think that Glover is still a tricky dog and could be live for sure. If he gets it to the ground, it's dangerous. I feel like we're going under 2.5 rounds at minus 190. I think that's a solid play. The time prop is good there. If you look towards propping things up, I'm going to throw you 2 lines. Teixeira to win by submission is plus 370. I think that's his most likely method of victory. And then you look at his opponent, Prochazka, to win by KO, minus 135. The champion is the dog at plus 180. Prochazka, the minus 200 favorite. Prochazka got that real hype. And he's a really good fighter too. But Glover is still in this fight. Like, the line could definitely be closer. I'm not falling into the trap of the line here of Prochazka. It's a fight that's super competitive, and I feel like I don't want to attack the Prochazka money line too much here. It's going to be something I'm sitting on up until fight day. This might be like a fight day bet or even like right before I throw a live bet down. Because the real question mark is if Glover lands a takedown, can Prochazka get back up? I'm not super concerned with Prochazka being taken down. Like, if he's taken down, that's fine. But can he get back up to his feet? We've seen Prochazka taken down and get up a lot in the past. But if he can't, he's in big trouble against Glover. Because Glover on top of you is scary. At this point, Glover Teixeira has developed such quality, top game Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that he's submitting everyone. I mean, he's the champion for a reason. Glover's a problem. Prochazka, not a wrestler, majority striker. Has fought a good amount of wrestlers in the past. King Mo, he's got 2 fights with him. Lost the first, won the second. Vadim Nemkov, he fought against Brandon Halsey, who was a beast of a wrestler back in the day. Win over CB Dollaway. Prochazka, before he got to the UFC, in Ryzen, was still fighting like former UFC talent and Bellator talent. You're still fighting good fighters. I feel like Prochazka's going to get the hand raised, though, here. And I think it's going to be by KO, but that money is ugly. So I really think the under 2.5 rounds at minus 190 might be your best play on this main event. And it's unfortunate, but it's the honest truth. You could also go towards, if you like Prochazka by KO, you could go Prochazka wins by KO TKO in the first round, plus 260. It's not great, but it's still plus money, plus 260 value. Prochazka got those dangerous uppercuts from the hip. I think he's going to catch Glover with something like that. And then if you look at Brendan Allen and Jacob Malhoun, minus 275 for Allen, Malhoun plus 257. I'm just looking at this one, not really craving to play much on it, but over a round and a half at minus 155, minus 145, actually best value, I think is actually a decent play. I think Malhoun can survive a couple rounds. He might go the full three. He's a dangerous wrestler. How's Allen's takedown defense going to be? I think over 1.5 might be a bit of a steal on this one to see if there's a finish here. I see it later in the second or going into the third. Over 1.5, Brendan Allen, Jacob Malhoun. The official pick is Allen, but there's no money line touch there. It's too wide, and I think over 1.5 would be your best play. Let's see what Allen by sub is. Plus 220. Allen by decision. Plus 275. Give me that over 1.5 at minus 145. Best value. All right, guys. You know what time it is. It's time to talk about the parlays. Let's jump right into it. If you haven't yet, make sure to smash the hell out of the like button. And we're going to talk about some potential parlays to make for this card. Let me get it all locked and loaded here. Let's see what we can come up with for some parlays. I have some written down here, which I think are high possible cashers. Jack Della Maddalena, Manel Cop, plus 135. To me, this is a quality play, and it's maybe my favorite one. And like, I don't want to go too crazy with parlays this week. I like 2-3 fighters max every week, but like this week, I'm kind of craving more that side of 2. Okay, of course. Valentina Shevchenko, you could add her in, plus 174. It's not great value, but it's still something. What is the next one we can add in? Fiallo? I like Fiallo's odds here of winning by KO, so I'm going to say plus 370. You add in Andre Fiallo. This is a 4-fighter parlay. Things are getting risky. It's a hell of a card this week, and I think there's some uber competitive matchups. Do we add in Joanna and Wei Li over 2.5? Ooh. Let's add that in. I feel like Joanna Wei Li over 2.5 rounds isn't a bad idea. Plus 557 for this. I feel like this is a quality parlay that's risky, but it could definitely cash for you. Now, if you're like, listen, I need more intensity than this. I want more on it. I want to add something. Let's add in the Brendan Allen over 1.5. If you can find that to parlay up, it's plus 996 with that one. You got 2 time props, and you got 4 fighters on it. I think the value's quality here. What else could we add in? Like, what can we add in that I feel like isn't throwing money away type situation, you know? I don't want to play stupid here. I want to keep it intelligent. Machate's relatively young to the game, but if you're looking to just go wild and really hit something hard, plus 2,475. Like, if you're looking for just a crazy-ass parlay, boom, right there for you. But a lot of people won't be playing Machate. If you like Yuri at the top and you want to have money down in the main event, which is always fun to do, it's going to be scary to get through this whole thing and then cash the main. Plus 1,572 for that as well. There's some decent parlays you can play, guys, but I'm really telling you this week, keep it lighter on the parlays. Play ones you're feeling really good about. I like the time props a lot that I have loaded in. I don't love too many fighters in my parlays. Like, this is a crazy ass one, plus 1572. This is the lottery ticket. If you guys want the lottery ticket play, we do it every week. This is it right here. See if you can cash through with it at plus 1572. And I guess I'm going to add in Machate for the hell of it for like the ultimate lottery ticket. That's the fucking Mega Millions right here. Plus 3,830. It'd be crazy if it comes through. Throw down on it and hope for the best. Fingers cross it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed another episode of this week's best MMA bets. It's been a blast to do it. I'm glad we're covering UFC 275 back in the studio. It feels good to be home. Content dropping each and every day this week. I have Moneyline tomorrow, Friday weigh-in recap show, and Saturday I will be live for the entire UFC 275 card, coming back with the fight companion, a heat fight companion. So definitely tune into that. Thank you all so much for the continued support, guys. Much love. Smash the hell out of the like button. If you're new, subscribe to the channel and turn on those post notifications as well. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys like the picks or the parlays? Do you have any plays that maybe you think are the secrets that you can pass to me? Definitely let me know down below. And if you don't have anything to say, but you just enjoy the content, drop a W in the chat to boost that algorithm. Much love, my people, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.